And good evening. Good evening. It's Sunday. It's Sunday evening here, and I wanted to come on and quickly talk about some negotiation tips. Some tips that have served me well during some pretty big deals and some smaller ones. But, most of the stuff that I did generally was around the five-figure, kind of lower, 27 to 31,000 was the kind of average deal. But then, there was a few times when there were some six-figure deals, which were pretty cool to have, and some high five-figure ones. And I just wanted to kind of come on and talk briefly about that, because I haven't been on this weekend really, because I've been doing daddy stuff. I've been doing daddy stuff, and actually I've been doing tax as well. I'm so bad. I do it every year to myself, and I swear every year I think, I'm just not going to do that next year to myself. And what happens? I do it again, and already we're in March, and I'm already behind in this year's tax. So in Japan, it's January to December is financial year for most companies, and March 15th is the cut off, which is like now. So I got it into the accountant today. Bless the Japanese, working away on the weekend. It's tax season, so I expected that. But he emailed me right back and saying, thank you. But I sensed he was not a happy camper, because he's going to have to go through it all, and then he has to send it to me. I have to approve it, and then we've got to go through, and then he has to have it in on the 15th. But I know what his email will say. It will say, Tyron, I cannot guarantee I can do it by the 15th. He does it every year. He always gets it done. This guy will work his butt off. But anyway, whoever's watching, give us a thumbs up. Say hi. Hi, Ty. Hi, Ty. So I know who's there. What I wanted to talk about was a couple of, so the kind of 3 points, because I had a phone call with a mate who was going into a negotiation on tomorrow, Monday, Japan time, with a client, and I was just asking him some questions about what he wanted, and how he normally goes about getting that. And there was a few little gaps in what he does. So, one of the things I told him to do in particular was to really come up, with so you've got your ultimate win, of course, and you know what's going to happen during a negotiation with the opposite opposing force. I don't want to call them that, but with the other side, they're going to have a list of things that they want to achieve for sure, and they're going to have a list of kind of concessions that they want, and they could be high value concessions that you have to deal with. If you're doing purchasing, or if it's a service agreement or anything like that, they're probably going to have a number of high value concessions that they want to get out of during this negotiation. So the first thing for you to do is always, pre-negotiations, is always to list out your high value concessions that you want as a part of your negotiations. And I mean, ones that maybe they're not going to be achieved, but just some like magic stuff, the magic ones that you're like, hey, let's throw that out there and let's see if we get it. You just never know. Now, when to use them? Well, obviously, the best time to use it is when the opposing force, I shouldn't call them that, when they are, let's just call them that, when the opposing force, when they throw out and ask for one of our concessions, bang, that's when you should already have, probably at least kind of 5 to 7 different high value concessions that you're going to go after from them, or you want to use them as backup. So what I've always done in a negotiation, as soon as someone has asked for one, I'm firing back one right away. I'm like, okay, that's an awesome one. Wouldn't be able to consider that without this occurring. And then they come up with another one, bang, hit them with your second one. Your third one, bang, hit him with the third one. They get the point pretty quick. Like, they know, okay, they're dealing with someone who it's not their first rodeo, right? So, one thing I was always good about, like, if I had like 5 to 7, sometimes more, if there was a lot of stuff, I wasn't afraid just to move on to the next one and next one. Like, if they said no, boom, then like, no, well, this one then. Just do it. So if they ask for something, hit them straight away with the concession that you want. And if they say no, so I can't give you that one, right? Or if it's something they're really, really stuck on, and your one was that kind of ultimate goal, or that ultimate, one of the concessions, then go to your next on your list, and then hit them with that, and say, well, look, if we can't do that, you've got a choice between this and that. This and that, right? And then bang, that's how you nail one. And that's why it's good to have about 5 to 7, because as they come up, you're able to like throw them at them, bang, bang. It's already there. So never, think of those kind of Hail Mary concessions or parts of a contract that you want to change, or a part of your service, whatever it is. Those kind of key elements, just stack them up and have them ready, and you pull it, and you've practiced them, and you've got them. You can write them down, of course. Of course, when you have negotiations, you should have all your stuff with you. But man, you want it to be like, they ask this, boom, you hit them with that. They say no, boom, you say, well, you have a choice, this or that. If you want that one, this is your choice. And just be persistent. Be persistent on it. Don't let them escape. So never, if they ask for something, never give it to them without getting something. And certainly if it's a high value one, then hit them with your high value list. Boom, 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 boom. Really important. And it works really well. Another thing, I used to do was with our contracts, I would put as many kind of non-monetary points in the contract as much as possible. Just, anything I could fill up just to make the contract longer. And some people say, well, look, just have a short contract. It makes things easier. Well, what happens by doing that is that you reduce the amount of things that you can kind of throw away and cut out of your contract and be seen as, doing something of a favor. Like, if you don't have points that you just can't kind of get rid of easily, and they're not going to affect your revenue. I mean, ultimately you want to save your revenue, right? You want to save the revenue that you're getting. So put in a whole heap of different monetary points that you can negotiate out of the contract. If they stay in there, awesome. If not, it could be terms, it could be payment terms, it could be the services that you provide, it could be marketing materials, it could be exposure that you'll give them, a whole range of different things where it's not going to really cost you anything, and it's going to preserve your revenue, right? That's really important. And it's kind of seen as a discount, right? For them, they're going to see it as a discount. So, in your contract, if you have a look at your contract now, if you can add kind of throwaways in there, stuff that you can negotiate out of it for them and be seen as like, okay, look, we'll do this, we'll take this out, or hey, we don't need, payment terms net 15, we can go out to 30. And, if you don't have an issue where you have cash flow is a problem for your business, I mean, most businesses it is, but if it isn't in your business, then extend your terms. That could be a huge difference for them. I try not to, but just as an example, okay? So, yeah, just don't think in terms of just purely monetary. points in your negotiations and your contract, because you could actually be missing some really high value stuff. It may not necessarily be monetary, and it may not actually hit the revenue and the bottom or the top line, but it could be of high value to them. So yeah, just be aware of that in your contract, add extra stuff. If you have a very lean contract, it might be good to go in there, get kind of creative, and add some things that you are willing to negotiate out. All right, and just be seen as like, well, cool. Um, he's being generous. He's helping. And kind of the last thing I just want to talk, and this is just three quick ones, guys. This isn't like the be end all list of negotiations by any stretch, but you'll see this a lot. If you ever study negotiations on B2B in particular, just slow down, slow down. Sometimes we can get caught up in a negotiation, and the other side may come up with a request really quick, and it could be right in the middle of our process, and kind of in the heat of that moment we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's because you might be desperate to close the deal, or you're feeling it's going really well, and you think that this discount might help. Slow down, just slow down. I think at any time you are asked for a discount, for some kind of concession with your negotiation, just pause. It doesn't take much, but literally just pause. And this is where I found, like, being in Japan, this has been really, really useful for me, because the Japanese are masters of the silence. I mean, they are absolutely masters. I have been in meetings where literally something has been tabled and they will be quiet for 2 to 3 minutes. Everyone just kind of sitting there quiet. Now, you time that. Try that with a person, like, hey, let's have a fake negotiation, throw out something, and then just sit there and see how long it takes before that other person has to fill the gap. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. So this is the thing. I don't mind if someone is asking for some kind of discount, someone is asking for some kind of concession, and you're in flow, you're in the negotiation. Just pause, take a deep breath, take a few breaths, right? Take a few breaths, and just kind of truly evaluate that. Like, does this make sense, before giving an answer? And you can even, put it to a side and say, hey, look, that's something of interest. If that's something of interest to you, let's come back to that. Don't give it away easily. Just don't. And that's what happens a lot. We get kind of caught up in the heat of the moment. We're like all excited, especially when it's coming to the conclusion. Or even when we're like in a point where we're on flow, and then someone asks, like, oh, can we do this with that? Oh, can we discount that by 1%? Or can we take off, could we add this? Don't fall for it. Just slow down. Just slow down. It will help you tremendously. So there's 3 good tips that have served me extremely well, over the years, and especially when when you're starting out in business. It's just these little things that can make a huge difference in the end result. And those were the biggest ones I really found was giving a concession, having my concession list, having my discount list, or having my high value concession list ready. So when they gave me one, I just fired it back at them. Bang, you want this? Boom, we want that. You want this? Boom, we want that. It's a quick way of kind of showing someone who's more experienced in negotiations that actually you know what you're doing, because you've got to be ready for it. you've got to be ready for it. And as I mentioned, I like to pad my contracts with stuff that I can negotiate out, and it's not going to affect my revenue, but it will be seen by them that, hey, and it might be valuable to them. But for me, I'm trying not to affect my revenue as much as possible. So I look for non-monetary things I could put in my contract. And the final one, just slow down. Just slow it down. Don't be forced into a decision. You can deflect it. You can say, yeah, that's really, I can appreciate it. That's awesome. Let's put that to the side. We'll come back to that. Just don't do it on the first ask. So anyway, that's all I wanted to come on and say that. I hope that gives you some food for thought. And for everyone starting tomorrow, Monday, who's Monday? It's Monday for me in 30 minutes. It's technically. Have a great week ahead. Guys, if you're going on LinkedIn this week and doing activity, go in with intent. Really, guys, when you turn on LinkedIn, do not go in there without an objective, because otherwise it is a time vampire. It will suck your time. It will absolutely suck your time. So go in with absolute intent, know what you want to achieve, and just focus on that. No reading stuff that isn't pertinent to your business intelligence gathering. And if you're not doing that, then start doing that. Certainly you want to stay abreast of what's happening in the market, but just be really, really cautious, because it can suck time and you feel like you're doing something, but you're really not. You're just burning time. So anyway, good luck this week, everyone. I hope you get some sales. I hope you get closer to a deal. I hope you get and engage with some people that are going to be a huge benefit. And like always, try to help as many as you can, right? Help as many as you can. Some will come back and will pay you for that. So always be on the lookout for that. Okay, guys, I will see you later. Hope you had a good weekend. Bye.